All right, Rawana Busia, and you ready? Monfancha, technical difficulties, kakra, but Nyamia Dom, ya walk your way out, Bibia Natuto de Inti, Yama Muhina Aquaba BM to your financial program, no, ya Mwasisa de Biada, no, yet Munyada Je, na money edisa Jumadia way, no. Tiabefasa Konya way, Neama. Yimpenning for Akwaba, Yabema Dr. Prince War, Yabema Akwaba to the program, no, and Penny Isaac Bear Conso, Yabema Akwaba to the program, no. Yadanyamia says, want to see to help the community, to help the Ghanaian community, and not only the Ghanaian community, but the African community, no, as a whole, no. Any obia OTM for wherever bia OTM bia no nimdie kakra nyame dia man na yepese yene mu hina no eche for the last 3-4 weeks, we've been talking about budget. Now last week nyame adom yeah, and they worry once the budget is done, no why you be no, what do? You who say there is a step that you need to take. The first step is you need to evaluate the budget, as time goes on, to make sure things need to be where they need to be. Now, so yeah, adjustment to be then you go ahead and do those adjustments, near there. But then you since I can't want bebre ne your time so 80, and what we want to focus on today is you mark like a template. Now, so template, you walk your listeners through on how to actually do the budget itself, because be besides how do I start and where do I even start? But going through this template, about like the visual idea on how to do it. Not necessarily say ube use the same template, but one can to a template and working for you and your family. But at least the concept is the same thing. Nothing changes because you need your income and you need your expenses now while working. And you may have penny back on to help us and walk us through the template, And penny minim say from your end and over to me, I share the template now. What share in Asia there's a share a mute.
All right. Okay, now I'm pulling it quickly.
Right.
Just a minute.
Penny working on your friend saying uploading the file no for us na the template, Dr. Ware, I think last week we missed you. I know this is a busy season for you, it's understandable. Overall, no, any be our person will share with our viewers in terms of budget. You can go ahead and do that as Isaac upload the file for us.
Sure. Yes, I definitely think that the whole topic of budgeting, as we've discussed it ad nauseum, I think is extremely important, and I think our perception of what budgeting is oftentimes what either causes us to do it or don't do it. Some people feel like the budgeting makes them shrink or tight on their money, right? But that's not really the best way to look at it. The budgeting is just a way for you to get control of your money, right? Like I said, even me as an advisor, right? Every single month I budget, not just because of anything. I spend my money on paper before the money comes into my account, so that when the money comes to my account, there are no surprises. I already know where the money is going. You could wake me up 2 in the morning. I can tell you where my money is. Because why? I'm very focused on how to manage the money. See, at the end of the day, it's not how much money you make, it's how much of it you get to keep. That's one of the core principles of finance, right? And accounting, right? So you just have to really be mindful of that. And I think once you do a budget, or, there's different things you can use to do a budget, right? You can, write on paper, you can write in an Excel sheet, you can whatever. But what I found to be very useful is that if you actually print out an actual budget sheet, I have different copies of it as well, and I'm glad that Brother Isaac has one. I think it's very helpful. When you sit down with your spouse or individually, and you actually write down your income and expenses, an amazing thing occurs. You really get to see where your money is going. Because oftentimes on your phone or your computer, you kind of log in whenever you get time, or sometimes you miss some things. But when you actually have to sit down and actually write, for some reason, you retain it more. You're actually more serious. It has a different psychological and emotional attachment when you actually sit down and write it. So for me personally, I write it. I print the paper, I write it so that I see everything, and I'm also writing it. It just has a different effect on me, right? My wife does it, and I give it to my family, and I feel like everybody that does it tells me how impactful it is for them, right? It's actually, I made it a fun part of my monthly thing. Hey, I gotta do my budget. I look forward to it because to me it's fun. Because why? It helps me to be able to find money, reallocate money, and see maybe somewhere I might be overspending that I need to cut back. So for the general person, I really think that if you really, really take this thing seriously, that's why we spend so much time talking about this exact topic. Because why? It is the foundation that you can then build on when it comes to your finances, right? Because if you don't know where your money is going, you don't know what's coming in, what's going out, how can you actually plan or build a financial house? It's impossible because you don't know what you can commit to what. But when you get a strong grasp of where your money is and where it's going, you will be amazed at the difference it can make for your financial picture. So, yeah, that's really what I want to say.
That's really good. Thank you. Yeah, that's same. So, you mentioned something last week. You hit it also. Was the fact, and it's sometimes we do the budget, and most of the times, we tend to take like leadership. We do the budget. The budget in the way, and like a draw more and close it and hoping that things will work out the way it needs to. But this is something it calls for. Okay, it is done. But once it's done, it is time for to have access to it, to look at it, review it, evaluate it as time goes on. And yes, now whatever I mean, it's not going to be really helpful. Very necessary, sir. And one of the things that we also can't is all the time, sometimes our ego takes over, not necessarily our ego, but we want to help. We want to lead the family, in doing so, we do the budget without even consulting with your friends and your spouse, and that sometimes tends to create like a lot of friction there because Urbana Free said we are doing this to impose some restrictions on them.
Yeah.
But once we get them on board, this is something we are all doing it together. It's for our future. And Isaac always says you're looking at like the prize ahead. So the prize ahead, it helps you. It drives your financial goals into your idea. Penny, what you mean? Okay.
Yeah. But it's very important, right? And I think, as I mentioned, I'm looking forward to seeing the budget sheet that Brother Isaac has. Like I said, there are different variations of it, there are different formats of it. But I just think that at the end of the day, I don't care how many versions there are of the budget sheet. If you don't do any of them, you're not benefiting yourself in any way, right? The key thing is just pick any of them. As long as it has a place for your expenses, your income, and everything like that. You can even, sometimes, if you're very serious about it, you can make your own budget sheet, right? but you have to be diligent and serious about it, because at the end of the day, us three sitting up here, we can advise you, we can encourage you, we can educate you, we can explain things, we can break things down to make it very simple. But at the end of the day, you have the total control and the total autonomy to decide whether, hey, I'm going to be serious about this and do it, or hey, you know what, this is just another information, let me take it and let me keep it moving, right? If you have that mindset, let me come get education, let me keep it moving and come back next week, now you are not helping yourself one bit, because knowledge is not power. It's only potential power. The power therein lies in what? The application of the knowledge, right? So that's why I teach what I do, what I preach, and what I teach. Because if I sit down with a client, right, and I'm telling the client, I'm advising the client, hey, do this, do this, do this, and if I have not done it, how does that make me look? That's why I'm so confident when I sit down with a person that whatever I teach them, I believe in my heart that it's going to work. Because why? I'm applying it to my own life. My wife has done it. My family have done it, and they've all seen an improvement. So when I'm speaking about it, it's from actual experience. But what's amazing is that a lot of financial advisors, even though they teach it, they don't actually apply it. A lot of them don't even have a financial game plan. But yet they're advising people on how to have a game plan. So like I said, it's really also important who you listen to when it comes to your finances, because not everybody really knows what they're talking about. They might have the knowledge and the bare education, but the actual detail of how things are supposed to be done, the actual experience, sometimes people just don't have it. So, but like I said, in a nutshell, really take the information seriously and apply it. Even if it's not detailed, take out a budget sheet and just write as much as you can on that budget sheet, even for a start, right? So that you can build on it as time goes.
Very important in your friend is saying, we'll share with us, because many a times, like your friend is saying, I mean, we say a lot of things, but applying what we say, makes a big difference. It's just the same thing as our Christian journey. Nyame say, do this, don't do that, near there. We hear this from our pastors all the time. But the question is, I apply to your friends and your life. So, abusuafo ne mpanimfo a etie enwumere no, I think so the big takeaway Dr. Wu share with us enwumere and say, whatever we do, whatever we say, and I say whatever we intend to do, we need to apply it. Information be a grab or habiano is something that we need to apply to our daily, not just absorb the information and just your friend is and leave it alone. We'll continue to it. My question to us, Isaac.
Yeah, now because me a bit of when system issues are current, minimum CBS and one bit me I share from your side.
Okay, my share sir.
Is the budget sheet, what is it in a group chat or?
It's an Excel template.
Okay.
I had it. Yeah, so we can continue to discuss it, and I'll try and pull it up real quick.
So, Brother Isaac, I mean, what the form or the Excel sheet you're trying to pull up, what does it really entail? Or your experience, how do you feel like it's beneficial for people to use?
Yeah, a very comprehensive and very detailed. And as you said already, uh, it's not really in, intended to be used in its entirety, basically, depending on what your expenses are and what your, and all that. But it's kind of very comprehensive, like a bit more cover a whole lot of aspects. So the woman, you see, where it fits. It's just a general year, just for people to see how things go and how they can go about it in case they ever want.
Okay, so are you planning to maybe go into detail of the Excel sheet, or what's the plan for the sheet?
We are going to hit 7 months if yeah,
Major points.
yes, like expense categories. We are just running through it.
Okay, good. Okay,
We've had all the detailed discussions already. Yeah,
sure.
just,
Okay,
yeah,
sounds
just
good.
see how it looks like.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, or it could look like. You could
Okay.
actually do a very simple one, but
Sounds good.
So as we're trying to upload right now, and my question is, why do budgets fail? Why at some point, after we've gone through all this and made a budget, my wife at TSC, yeah, the year Juma. So I didn't in a drew stage be or have failure, na fairly, any Juma.
okay. Mame enka kakra.
Yes.
We are not Dr. Weber Kasa. Basically, so I say we are saying there, it's just like planning. We always say that there's a saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's very interesting. So when you have a plan and there's a key concept, and I think you've talked about it. And interestingly, last Saturday we were talking about that concept as well at church. Self-discipline and self-control. So one of the things that when it lacks that everything that you are doing in this world is going to fail. And I'll just you know focus on that at this point. Like I know there are a whole lot of things like lack of evaluation, lack of trying to follow things through, lack of trying to even make adjustments on the sheet as and when things are changing as time goes on. But I will talk about the lack of self-discipline or the lack of self-control part here when you have made a budget and instead of you following through with your plan, you are doing other things as and when you feel like doing them because you believe you have a taste for this right now. So let me just go get it. And I think we've talked about most of these things in the past. So self-discipline or self-control is very key to the success of EBIA and was associated with Majidi said the ones with Mark Kasaf and other aspects.
Yeah, man. I think we've done a good job, breaking things down and for the past couple weeks, 3 weeks, and just explaining to people about the budgeting. And as I mentioned, we can teach you, explain things to you, educate you all day. But if you don't have the discipline, right? There are two major things: is the discipline and commitment to anything in life. Without these two things, you can accomplish it. Whether it's your relationship, whether it's your faith, whether it's your job, whether it's your business. If you are not committed to it or you are not disciplined, it can never happen. Right? A lot of times people are just interested in something, but they're not committed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between being interested and being committed. If you're interested, yeah, you're gonna sort of kind of do it from time to time. But if you're committed, even when you don't feel like doing it, you're gonna do it because why? You know that it's going to help you in the long run. If you truly believe and you truly are committed to making a change in your finances, you are going to do it no matter what, whether you feel like it or whether you're not. If you're okay, you don't really care, then guess what? you're going to only do it when you feel like doing it. And to me, when you have that mindset of, oh yeah, you know what, I'll do this thing at some other time, you're always going to continue to repeat the same mistakes. But when you commit and say, you know what, I don't care where I am right now. I may not be in the best place right now, but I want to be better. I want to improve, and I want to have major, significant difference in my finances. So whatever I need to do to achieve that, I will do it. If it starts with a budgeting every single month, maybe on the 20th or the 28th or the 15th, you pick a date. If you say, hey, on the 28th, every month on the 28th, you sit down, you or your spouse, and you do it. And that's how you begin to create discipline. Because without it, I'm telling you, I've gone through it. I've been through it. So I can tell you with the utmost confidence that without these two ingredients of discipline and commitment, nothing is going to happen, you know. So and the same thing applies when it comes to budgeting. Like I said, because the reason why you don't commit to it, because to you it may not be necessarily important, or it may be too much work to do, or I don't have time, I'm too busy. Guess what? We're all very busy. But one thing I know about life, that people commit to what they feel is important. Right? If I told you that, hey, I'm going to pay you $5,000 every single month if you do a budget, would you do that budget every single month? Faithfully. That would be the first thing you do every single, right? Because in your mind, I'm getting free $5,000. But because there's no monetary, benefit attached to it, you don't think it's important. But not knowing that by doing that budget, you can free up and create that excess money that you need. So.
Yeah, and I think on my side, there are three things that are sometimes, I feel say your budgets now, it doesn't work. Number one, a negative attitude. Say either the husband and answer the wife, already you developed that negative it's not going to work. We've been married for the last, God knows, 15, 20 years. In fact, budget we have survived up to this point. Why all of a sudden a budget? It is a negative na yedi ura adie ne monunti no 100%, and I'm not committed to it. So what happens, even when I need to make those changes to help the budget work, because of my attitude, it's not going to work. In order for the budget to need to work, like Yaka Wasam, I need to have that positive there is a prize ahead of me. And if I'm committed to it, I'll get that prize. So why don't I be open, keep positive, and work towards it? My second year, Debbie American was a lack of motivation, because I see this in a lot of your fans, men, you use the budget as a backlash to your wives, and then maybe it could be vice versa. Because, for example, my budget, into I feel me year cry koto grocery, like me the ruler to home what she needs to buy and what she doesn't need to buy. And so that kind of that bind the non restrictions and now I feel me my as a man or my police in anymore trying to tell my wife do this, don't do it. Hey, I don't know feel like said fish or meat, like one thought there was sale. No, I could talk that kind of thing. At the end of the day, I mean, you lose interest in it. And that motivation is not there, because I see it is there. You are using this to punish me instead of say, I hear like a mutual to your friends and go forward. And then my final year, and so my count is certain unrealistic expectations. Also, budgeting from day one, you can say it's a plan, a guide for both you and for the family, or even if it's just me as an individual, and this is a guide for my financial goal. Now, I must set unrealistic goals for myself. In 5 years, I want to maybe buy a 5-bedroom house, and because of that, I feel I need to save this much. One can so you know your income, which is coming, and I wouldn't name the expenses now. You know, these goals now will set for yourself. It's unrealistic, and because of that, you need to know. Either you're very overwhelmed, stress ourselves trying to achieve it because why? I have it written on the paper and say, this is the goal that I have and I need to keep that. Once I have these unrealistic expectations, for myself and for my family now, then what happens? Because could do stage what I'm trying to do is not working. I'll give up easily. Near there. But setting realistic goals, it helps to drive the budget, forward. Now, remember your friend is Isaac Quina, or you saw analogy, about having like a prize ahead, and I like that analogy, just for you to like repeat it again to your friends and your listeners, and you who but I see and why we are doing what we're doing.
Okay. Thank you very much. And the Majidi said, and no, the mechanic go along with reasons here, motivation, taking away negative attitude, and a certain realistic goals. And you also talked about commitment and self-discipline, and they are very, very important. So when you have a price ahead of you, say, can you see him can say, I want to maybe buy maybe a 5-bedroom house, maybe during my retirement. That is a bit realistic. And so that you have a bit of time to work towards it. So because you want to do that, maybe in some 20, 25, 30 years in internet, you are going to develop a positive attitude towards budgeting, because you know that is what is going to help you achieve that goal. I know you're one. Two, that price is going to motivate you to move on, to press on, regardless of any obstacles. And also, wow, Emma, and motivate to multi committed. I would call commitment as kind of a mindset, and maybe discipline as an attitude, like also process it. So when you have that motivation to get 5 bedrooms in your retirement, 20, 30 years, which is the price that you are working towards now, you have the commitment, you try to discipline yourself to be able to achieve that goal. You try to take away any negative, thoughts. And you also try to set realistic goals, since you don't really want to. And talking about setting realistic goals, and they're very important. You've talked about the fact of being able to evaluate our budget on an ongoing basis and make adjustments as and when needed. Sometimes you might set a goal which might not be realistic, but you do not even know. But during the month, and I say, yeah, over the next 3 months, you say, no, I was thinking that I was going to get maybe $5,000 in a month, but now it's really 2,300. So let me adjust my budget to 2,300. And sometimes you might make mistakes, but go back and make the adjustments so that you're able to tell into what's our marketing getting in now. Where the Uber say that in Kakaka and you never do. Okay, now you get to the price and you have to get it.
Yeah. and that's a powerful that insight, and like abusia for era one abusia yasai emamwakwa baby muti free no either on Facebook, YouTube, and as online radio at the was semonya your budget discussion and you go so you're taking more time doing this because it's the basis of our financial future financial and once you don't have the basis in the right, you cannot build on it. Because we want to invest, we want to save, but you cannot invest and you cannot save when if you don't put your budget in order. Now, who say, okay, at the end of it, then let me go to Dr. Ewa and do some investment over there. And I said, let me go to Ahase and plan on doing some. So you're spending more time trying to build this your friends a foundation for you. Once the foundation is built, and then we'll go ahead and continue. Another question person me throw out there and is as a family, the budget is done. Now, who said yes, we tried to say a very realistic in terms of your expenses and your FBB, but what I'm noticing is every month we are overspending. Every month we are overspending. So, how do I help to prevent that overspending? Even though I still have my budget, but I'm still overspending. How do I assess the situation and how do I put a stop to the overspending?
So, in all honesty, right? If you think about it, the purpose of the budget is to limit or stop the overspending, right? Because if you're still doing a budget every single month and you are still overspending, that means you are deviating or going away from your budget. Because when you have a budget, the idea is not to deviate so much away from the budget, because you want to have it consistently month in and month out. There are certain things that you spend money on every single month: cable, electric bill, water bill, gas, or television, cell phone, paying debt, whatever it is. There's a mortgage, rent, whatever. There's a certain amount of money you spend per month towards that. A lot of times, the deviation away from the budget is coming from you maybe going out there and have a spending spree where you go to a store, you shop, or because the shopping may not be in your budget. Or maybe you budgeted for shopping $200 a month, but maybe this month you want to go spend $500 a month, and every month the same thing, right? So that's where it's coming from, right? So the purpose of doing a budget is to help you to see where you're overspending. So if you now see where most of your money is going, and then you change it, and then you're still having this issue, that means you are not sticking to your budget. You are still putting money away, or you're still spending money in that area where you are overspending. Because there's no way that if you create a proper budget and you see where you're overspending and you are committed and disciplined to stop overspending in that direction, there's no way you continue to overspend unless you have now created a new thing to overspend money on. Right? Because the budget, that's the whole point of the budget, is to help you to see where you're overspending so you can stop, right? So you can reallocate the money to somewhere else where it can actually be an asset to you. So if you find yourself still overspending every single month, then to me, it means that number one, either you are not sticking to that budget, or number two, you have now found a new area to overspend. And if you don't discipline yourself, every time you fix one area, you're going to create another faucet that's going to continue to drip money.
Thank you. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Yeah, Penny Isaac, what's your take on this?
What I was saying is, I believe most people overspend because they don't know they are overspending.
Yeah.
Why am I saying this? It's because they are not allowing the budget to guide them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this because why a budget? And that's all they projected, and I say they are budgeted amounts, columns, or like I believe say ABA Nyambwa next week, so Nyambwa finances, it's my shows templates now. And I say projected amounts, columns, or and then I have budget, And I say actuals, AC what you actually spent during the month. AC that's all they are question. Like if I say like entertainment, budget 500, but month and also what spend 800. And I say sheet man, I say 800 national. You see, so oh 500 I'm here yo, but you see 800 that means I'm overspending. And it's a with our motivation, commitment, so we negative. Say no money, say no money, bema. You see, say no. I have to set up. But most people are overspending because I believe they don't know they're overspending, meaning they don't go back to put the actuals in there to see the differences and to check themselves. That's the essence of the budget, to serve as a guide. They are not letting the budget guide them. That's what I add to it.
Yeah, I'm paying for Yadamwase. I'm saying the final year made account say, and I have seen this in real life where we hide some expenses. And because you hide some expenses, either maybe from the wife or from the husband, so when the month comes, now you try to do like the actuals now, then those expenses I start to say buy out. Now they will cry it's not even in the budget. And I said there's a Netflix account, it's not even here. There is a cable Wakoji upgrade, it's not even here. So we need to be true to ourselves and know, sir, budget, there has to be transparency. Every expense be declare that. Na in for yadamwase for enyumere your time no echo your tea for so sorry for the technical from the beginning to me anxious when we needed to know. But in himself kakra yabubosu nyame adom mo de ebeye adwuma. Until next week, Monday, 6 p.m., you'll be saying, I share or have you know. Yes, Mesa, on one gets our own shram on shamo. So, Penny Prince, ni Penny Isaac, and so Yadamwase for more time. Ti Nyame and Kamo till next week.
All right. God bless. Take care. Okay.